Io do il mio benvenuto agli incontri con i nostri ospiti in italiano, ma trattandosi oggi di un evento che coincide con l'inizio di un corso di International Business, credo di poter rivolgere un saluto in inglese al professor Thurow. I am very happy to present to you Professor Thurow, Dean of the Sloan School of Management at MIT, who has accepted our invitation to be with us today. The Sloan School, as you know, has been Stoà partner since 1988, and under the direction of Professor Thurow has contributed greatly to the founding of Stoà and the development of its master's program and some of our research projects. Professor Thurow describes himself as an economics educator, is the author already of several books well known all over the world. I'd just like to mention the zero-sum solution, building a world-class American economy, 1985. His latest book, which describes what Americans must do to change many of their traditional operating procedures in order to regain America's competitiveness in the world economy. Professor Thurow can well be considered one of the keenest observers of the processes of change taking place in the competition between industrialized and developing countries, and his analysis is always a fundamental point of reference for those who are concerned with the globalization of competition. We are therefore privileged to have Professor Thurow here with us today, especially because today also sees the opening of our International Management course for selected executives of the Finmeccanica Group, destined to work in Finmeccanica subsidiary abroad, in the United States especially. I'm sure that all of us will profit from Professor Thurow's address and from the discussion which will follow. It remains for me simply to welcome Professor Thurow once more and invite him kindly to begin.
It's nice to be here again, and I apologize for not being able to do this in Italian. What I'm going to do this morning, let me put it in context. I have a new book coming out in April 1992, which will actually also be published in Italian at about that same time, on the world economy. In the book, there are several chapters about how the nature of the game is going to change. I guess 3 chapters. And then there are 4 chapters on the principal players in the world. A chapter on Japan, a chapter on Europe, a chapter on America, and a chapter on everyone else. And then the end of the book is essentially a chapter on who owns the 21st century. We say that Great Britain owns the 19th century because they were the dominant economic power. The United States owns the 20th century because it was the dominant economic power. And will there be a dominant economic power in the 21st century? And if so, who will that somebody be? I'm not going to give you the answer because otherwise you won't buy the book. But what I'm going to talk about this morning is the Japanese chapter, which I call the challenge of producer economics. Because what I want to argue, if I may start with a sporting metaphor, is, everybody